So good evening. No, I'm not running for anything. Done with that. But I do live on the golf course on the second hole. I was a member of the original RPA. We were victorious in shutting down an application for redevelopment of the golf course at that time. But in the meantime, after 19 years of serving as MPP, I also feel a responsibility to share some context with you. And that context is this, that since we initially challenged Joe Shaw, Grenada, and to Cllr subsequent to that, much has changed in the province of Ontario. And there are two pieces of legislation that have been enacted by the legislature that are going to affect us all, as it did the Glenway community. Now, some of you may recall that I put forward a private member's bill that would have amended the Planning Act and the Places to Grow Act, that would have empowered the local municipal council to have the final say when it came to any infilling application of an existing built-up community. That private member's bill received first and second reading and was passed on second reading in the legislature. The government of the day refused to bring that bill forward for public hearings, and it died. And the reason that Glenway community received the kind of infill that it did is not because the local council didn't challenge it. In fact, they did. One of the disappointing things that I observed was that there were actually councillors who held up unrealistic expectations for the people in that community, knowing full well that provincial legislation mandates intensification and infill in existing communities. The result of that was that the town of Newmarket spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on an Ontario Municipal Board appeal, and at the end of the day, the Ontario Municipal Board ruled consistent with the Planning Act and the Places to Grow Act. And you see what is happening there. And the Ontario Municipal Board ruling is available for everyone to see. I would really urge all of you to read that Ontario Municipal Board ruling, because I think it will all give us a context of reality about what our town council can do, what we can do, and at the end of the day, what the logical thing is for any ratepayers association to do going forward. I want to also share this with you. I got a call about 3 months ago from Robert Byzantin of Cllr. And he said, Frank, we are going into our annual general meeting. I want you to know, as our former MPP, that we will be making a formal announcement that the golf course will be closed permanently. We will not be able to sustain it. And the reason is simple. We're losing money and have lost money for the last number of years on that course. We do not know what we're going to do. We're going to consider our alternatives. I spoke with Robert as recently as last Friday, because I got the notice. Dave, where's Dave? I want to thank Dave for his initiative. I opened up my mailbox, there was the notice. I said, who is Dave Newton? I'd never heard of him. So I decided to email him. I said, Dave, who are you? I'd like to talk to you. He called me and I said, what are you doing? And he said, I think it's important that the community can speak with one voice on this issue. I would like us to have factual information going forward, and that's my reason for doing what I'm doing. That's when I said to him, I know what that's about. I was part of a ratepayers association that had the same motivation. But I also said this. I said, if you're going to convene a meeting on Monday, you should get information directly from Cllr. And I said, I will call Robert Byzantin and I will facilitate a meeting for you directly with Robert Byzantin, who is the Chief Financial Officer of Cllr. I did that. That meeting was scheduled for 11:30 on Friday morning. Did you have the meeting? Okay. At about 10 o'clock on Friday, I got a call from John Abel. And John said, "There's a meeting on Monday, will you come?" And I said, "Of course." I said, "By the way, John, what's your role in that meeting?" He said, "Well, it's being held at Town Hall. I want to facilitate it." I said, "If that's the case, if you're going to have a meeting on Monday night with people in our community about an issue, you had better find out what the facts are, so why don't you get included in the meeting along with Dave Newton?" John Abel participated in that. We also arranged a meeting with the mayor to provide exactly the same kind of information. And so I hope that that helps you in terms of the context. The reality is that there is no sale at this point. They are still contemplating, and for what I know, there's actually someone in this room tonight who told me that he would like to put some money together to buy the golf course and run it as a golf course. Someone also told me, I hope he's got deep pockets. And I'll apply for a charter membership. Someone also said, well, maybe what we can do as a ratepayers association is call on the town to form a partnership and we can buy the golf course together, and when there's a profit, the town can have their share of the profit. I said, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be the councillor that made that decision. But if you can find enough of them to do it, good luck. Folks, here's where we are tonight. Club Links has not done a deal. I understand that there is some due diligence being done. Yes, they are doing a survey. By the way, folks, I live on the golf course. I happen to know that I built my deck 2 feet into the golf course property. Okay? And I know when Joe Shaw put the fence up, it was in disregard to where the property lines were. So some of you may have a swimming pool on that golf course property, and if you do, my advice is you want to be friendly with whoever is on the other side of the negotiating table, because by law, you'd have to take that out. And one of the alternatives we've got, that I think the Glenway community may well, in retrospect, wish they would have taken. And that is, rather than take the fight to the OMB, where then you have people making a decision without regard to your emotions, without regard to whether you've got a pool halfway into the property or not. The adjudicators at the OMB will make a decision based on the law. And if a developer or a builder were to make an application to absolutely maximize the density on that property, it may well change the character of our community. At this point going forward, we have the ability to negotiate and to insist on things such as property lines and lots sizes being consistent with what they are today. The size of the houses to be consistent with what's there. If we conduct ourselves in a reasonable and rational way, we can see the value of our communities increased as opposed to undermined the way it has happened in Glenway. Now, as unaccustomed to speaking as I am, I was not planning on saying anything, but I felt compelled, as Bob Callow would know, to share with you at least what I know, because you deserve to leave here tonight, whether you choose to elect the core of a ratepayers association or not. I think the principle of what Dave was trying to do is right on the money. It's a matter of understanding the facts, knowing what our limitations are, and at the end of the day, do what is in the best interest of our community.